What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor, where I go through every single pick for the Washington Commanders in the 2023 NFL Draft. And I'll also be breaking down with video and all 22 film breakdowns for each player coming to the channel soon. So after going offensive line and selecting Braden Daniels in the 4th round, which I just did on another video, Washington trades up with the Buffalo Bills. They give up picks 150 and 215 to move up to 137 for the Bills. So this happens. I'm at the draft party. I'm like, who are they getting? Is it going to be a tight end? It's going to be a linebacker. They're going to be a running back here. Maybe it's a quarterback and kind of surprise everybody. But Washington makes a smart move. And they go after a guy that I really like. And this is a very Washington Commanders pick, and I'll tell you why. They select KJ Henry, the defensive end out of Clemson. He's 6'4", 251 pounds, and is just an outstanding guy. Very, very, very high character player. His dad is a diehard lifetime Washington fan. He came out with the jersey on, the throwback uni, that old Redskins hat. I saw the video that's on the Commanders page now. Absolute home run of a pick. But on the field, this guy is a fantastic player, and I'm going to tell you why. I've watched a good bit of his games, and I have a little bit of a connection with KJ Henry. So I'm going to try to get him on the show. So stay tuned with that. But I got a little bit of a connection with KJ Henry. So, but let's just take a little bit of some notes that the PR team put out about KJ Henry, and then I'm going to pull up the PFF stuff, of course, and go through his profile. So it says KJ Henry played in 58 games with 24 starts for Clemson from 2018 to 2022. So he's been there for a while. I love players with experience. Quarterback's probably the most important, but I love edge rushers that have experience. He recorded 122 total tackles, 28 tackles for loss, 13 and a half sacks, 11 pass breakups, so he knows how to get his hands up on the line, and forced 2 fumbles. He earned first team All-ACC honors by the Associated Press, Phil Steele, who writes like the college football Bible, love Phil Steele, and Pro Football Focus. Second team All-ACC by the media and coaches, and third team All-American by Pro Football Focus. So not only All-ACC honors, but All-American, third team All-American. That is in the country. And in 2022, his 24 quarterback pressures, as credited by the coaching staff, were the most by a Clemson player since 2016. So he has the on-the-field accolades. He's done a ton of stuff off the field, which I can't wait to talk about as well. But I really like this guy, KJ Henry. I think this is such a Washington pick. When you look at the kind of players that Ron loves to draft, Mayhew loves to draft, just guys who are natural leaders who are going to come in and contribute on the field, but also off the field as well. So let's go back over here to PFF. If you watched the Braden Daniels video, you saw me pull up the PFF profile. And it says right here that they think the pick is a pretty average graded pick. But like I said, I like it. We know that Washington, and I tweeted this out a minute ago, I think KJ Henry is right now the third best pass rushing edge on the team, ahead of Tuhill, ahead of Obata. Obviously, Shaka Toney is going to be gone. I'll talk about him in a video coming up with our last pick. But this is what PFF had to say. After news came out right before the draft that the Commanders are not planning on exercising the 5th-year option for 2020 number 2 overall pick Chase Young, they trade up to add KJ Henry off the edge. This doesn't necessarily mean that a move is imminent, which it might not be, but we are in the 5th round after all. But it is noticeable nonetheless. Henry earned a 84 pass rushing grade with a 15.9% pass rushing win rate in 2022, but is a bit older and didn't test well, which I'm fine with. They had him as a 104th overall player, and we got him at 137. And for some reason, they still don't like the pick. We got him 33 picks behind where they graded him, and they said they don't like the pick. But 82% of PFF users, Washington fans, like this pick. So let me know what y'all think. Drop in the comments if you like the pick. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Got a lot of things cooking up. Let's take a look at KJ Henry's profile. So let's take a look at his grade. 2022, he blew it out of the water. Look at that. 2020, he's flirting with the 60 line. 2021, he goes up to mid-60s. 2022, KJ Henry kicks it up a notch. This is a guy that I paid pretty close attention to because I heard his name come up a good bit from some other, Draft Network, PFF guys kept mentioning KJ Henry. And like I said, I have a little bit of a connection with KJ, which I'll talk about at some point. But his overall grade in 2022 at 83.1 grade. And we'll talk about the grades, but let's look here. He's listed as an edge. He's a pass rusher. Outside the tackle is where he that's the bread and butter. That's the cornbread and pudding here. 535 snaps outside the tackle. If you watch the tapes, sometimes he has his hand in the dirt, but sometimes he's standing up. Look like he's ready for like that NASCAR package, some 5-2 defense. I would love to see him on the edge on a 5-2 scheme where you got 5 linemen, 2 linebackers. Can you imagine, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, then maybe Payne and Allen, and then you put him on the outside of maybe Chase Young, because Chase Young on the edge, we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about Chase Young. I'm going to do a video breaking down Chase Young. But KJ Henry, in my opinion, outside the tackle, just ears pinned back like a dog chasing a rabbit, getting after the quarterback. That's where KJ Henry feasts. Look at all the games where he just thrived on the right side. Yeah, Notre Dame had a fantastic offensive line. Same with North Carolina pretty much. But look at Georgia Tech, Wake. He just ran through the ACC his whole career, 2021, 2022 specifically. He had 5 sacks this season, 14 hits, 34 hurries, and 5 batted passes in 22 alone. I like it. Let's take a look at some of these grades in 2022. He had an 84 pass rushing grade, like PFF mentioned, 15.9% pass win rate. When these numbers, these little dots here are blue, get into that dark green blue, that's when light bulbs start kicking off. Like, okay, let me see what this guy did in 2022. But also, my edge rushers need to know how to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. I do not want over-aggressive edge rushers who are only focused on getting to the quarterback, focused on big plays. I want disciplined, outside gap integrity kind of guys. So he has a 78.8, almost an 80 PFF run defense grade. So he knows how to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. What's not to like about this guy? He's a little bit older. Who cares? First look, how old is he? 24. All right, well, I'm almost 30. I do feel old, but still. Henry was a former 5-star recruit who finally turned it on this past fall. He racked up 53 pressures and earned that 84 pass rushing grade for the Tigers. 6'4", 251, almost a top 105 overall grade on this guy from the PFF board. We traded up to get him at 137 because we knew he wasn't going to make it to our pick, which I don't think he would have. So I really like this pick. Obviously the question marks with Chase Young, but people also aren't talking about the situation with Montez Sweat. He's going to have to get paid as well. So one of these guys aren't going to be there, in my opinion, and it's probably going to be Chase. Just because of the injuries and everything. So maybe KJ Henry is the edge rush of the future. And if you watch my final mock draft, I had us getting Isaiah McGuire. I had us getting an edge around this range. So a high upside caliber player, and that's what KJ Henry is going to be. So for me, I really like this pick. I think he's going to get a good bit of snaps. I know last year was a little bit different because Chase was coming back, but Tuhill got a lot of snaps. Obata got a lot of snaps on the outside. Maybe Chase is 100% healthy this year. But for me, in my opinion, I think KJ Henry gets a good bit of snaps, and I think he could transition into that outside starting edge of the future, because you just don't know what's going to happen with these contracts for our 2-star edge rushers. In my opinion, one's got to go. So appreciate y'all checking out the video. Got another one coming up because Washington had some more picks on day 3 of the draft. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Don't really post much on Instagram. Kind of did today at the draft party, but we'll see if I can keep it up. Appreciate it. See y'all soon.